99 years ago today, in the very early hours before dawn, some 1,200 kilometres from where we stand, members of the Australian and New Zealand Army Corps, or ANZACs, landed on the western shore of the Gallipoli Peninsula in modern-day Turkey, at a place we now call Anzac Day. At roughly the same time, British forces landed at the southern tip of the Gallipoli Peninsula at Cape Helles, whilst French forces went ashore at Kampala on the Turkish mainland just opposite the Cape. Indian and Canadian troops later joined the campaign. This multinational invasion force was to be the spearhead of one of the more audacious and imaginative strategies of the First World War, the Dardanelles Campaign. With the Western Front grinding to a protracted stalemate, and with Russia under increasing pressure from German and Ottoman forces in the east, the Allied objective was to capture the heights of the Gallipoli Peninsula, force open the Dardanelles Strait for the British and French navies, and, within a short space of time, seize Constantinople. If successful, this operation could have taken the Ottoman Empire out of the war, opened a new southern front against the Austro-Hungarian Empire, put considerable pressure on Germany, and re-established communication and supply lines with Russia. It may well have brought World War I to an early conclusion, vastly altering the world we live in today. Men such as Lance Corporal Leonard Kaiser, a Jewish Australian who enlisted to fight only 3 months after immigrating to Australia. He was awarded the Victoria Cross for his bravery at the Battle of Lone Pine in retrieving live Turkish grenades from the trenches and throwing them back over no man's land. The First World War still casts a long shadow over our nation. Of the 102,000 Australian war dead, 60,000 fell in the First World War. 1 in 5 who served overseas were killed in action, including many of the 2,300 Jewish Australians who volunteered to fight. Anzac Day is the day we, in Australia and New Zealand, stop to remember our dead and fallen from all wars, to honour their courage and sacrifice, and to reflect on the values we as nations hold dear. Thank you for joining us as we do so. Lest we forget.
Lest we forget, pay our respects to the women and men who served our land. They heard the call, they marched in time, for our country gave their lives, lest we forget. Going from their homes and families, they saw the job that needed to be done away in distant lands. For the sake of freedom, freedom everywhere, the sons and daughters of Australia were there. Lest we forget, pay our respects to the women and men who served our land. They heard the call, they marched in time, for our country gave their lives, lest we forget. From Anzac Cove to the trenches of the Somme they bravely fought, and through Kokoda's muddy mountains battled on. From the jungles of Vietnam to Korea, Afghanistan, we celebrate their lives, we thank them one and all. Lest we forget, pay our respects to the women and men who served our land. They heard the call, they marched in time, for our country gave their lives, lest we forget. Lest we forget, pay our respects to To the women and men who served our land, they heard the call, they marched in time. For our country gave their lives lest we forget. For our country gave their lives lest we forget. For our country gave their lives lest we forget.